Hello and welcome back to Painting with MasterTemple. I'm Dan and thank you for joining me on this fantastic day. Now we're going to do an unusual painting, something I've never painted before, and something I hold a little bit close to my heart. We're going to paint my local castle. My local castle is Pontefract Castle. It's in ruins and that's what we're going to create up on canvas. So let's show you what we've got done. Hopefully we won't be painting. Our painting won't turn into ruins. Okay, as you can see, this is a double prime pre-stretched canvas and I've sketched out a little bit of an image of the castle. I took a photograph and I'll put the photograph up on screen now. And I thought we'll just use that photograph as a little bit of reference. We might change it slightly, though we won't change the actual shape of the castle, but we might add a few more trees here and there just to push things back and use a little bit of artistic license. And that's just sketched out with a little bit of pencil. Okay, up here I've used a little bit of linseed oil and titanium white. Now people ask, why am I using linseed oil instead of magic white or liquid white? And it's because A, it's cheaper, but don't tell anybody. It's cheaper and I have more control. I can make it more brighter and more white, and I've just got a little bit more control with that. And the past masters used it as well, so if it was good for them, it's good for me and you, right? Okay, let's crack on and let's do a little bit of a painting. Okay, so I'm going to take some ultramarine, some bright red and some titanium white. Make a nice purpley colour, maybe a bit more white. Red, white and blue. Okay, I can start up here and just go across all this. Okay, I've got the heater on. And it's drying out somewhat as well already. But that's alright, that's not too bad. Go up to the tree. I've got a big tree there, as you probably saw from the reference photo. If you go over the tree, that's no biggie, really. I just want that tree to remain dry for when we put the paint on for that. Okay, same with the castle. If we touch the castle, it's no biggie. Okay, I'm just going to wipe off the excess. Okay, get a clean brush. No, yeah, just wipe off the excess. Clean rag, I meant to say. There, I've got some rags down there from the last painting video. Didn't throw them away. Don't know why. Okay, which you should have seen last week. I'll just add this in. Okay. Oh well, maybe a bit more white. Maybe a touch more white into that. Pale it off somewhat near the horizon. Of course, we're going to blend these together. I think we've got a couple of little clouds up there. I know it's a little bit brighter than what on the photograph, a little bit brighter than what we're making it out here, but I just thought we'd have a little bit of a variant in the sky. Give it a little bit more something. A little bit more something. All right, with the sky all blended together, took that big old brush down. Let's take a fan brush. Okay, make sure it's clean and dry. Yes, it is. Okay, we've got a few little white clouds up there because this tree is going to have some branches coming off in this direction, so I don't really care too much about over here, but up here, where did we have some clouds? I think we started off with a little bit of something just there. Just let's scrub in just a few. Now, if this is too wet, white paint's not sticking. Okay, just rub it off. Take your knife and scrape it off. And the canvas there. A couple of little clouds that come back there. They're like that. Maybe there's another one that just streaks. Just some floatery little things. Just living out here. Just turn the fan brush, make it free. Like so. A bit of paint. Just like that. Of course, don't want to forget this top corner now. On the reference photograph, you can't see this top corner. But we know the clouds just won't stop behind that tree now, will they? Right. What we've got next now the sky's done. Okay, we've got basically a yellow, if you were looking at it face value, we've got a yellow castle, a yellow sandstony castle, green grass, a a path of sorts, a couple of little houses there, and a brown tree. So not much colour going on here. Well, there's lots of colour, but in big blocks. But I don't want a really big block colour in. What I've done is I've taken some And I'll show you what I've done. Let's have a look at the reference photo down here. This is the reference photograph that I've been working on, and it's actually by my side as I'm painting it for you guys. And I've taken a little bit of yellow ochre, you see there, a little bit of yellow ochre and a bit of white, mixed them together, okay, just like that. And then I'm just trying to find a stone which will match that. Now obviously it's going to be too dark for these stones here, but down here it's about right. And some of these stones it's almost there as well, okay. Over here too light again, sorry, the paint is too dark. Okay, so you just go along and try and match as much as you can up with this, and then when we get back up the canvas we can block these areas in with the colours that loosely match on the reference photograph. Maybe change the flavour every time you load the brush, and we're going to work on perspective as well. Some of these lines will be going off to a vanishing point. Okay, just put that down there. How far does that go? Right down to the grass. Okay, there. Okay, I'll block that in. And maybe there's a little bit of something with a bit of brown in there, so a bit of umber maybe. I can tell you now, my palette is going to be full of different colours by the end of today. Certainly is. I think we've got a shadow on. Because it's going round, it's going to get a little darker as we go around anyway. And I think there's a bit of paleness there. We've got a little bit of a paler grey just round about here. I'm just going to build up colour on this. I might put some stones up here. Now it'd be wrong to try and paint every single individual rock, brick or whatever. It's just going to be very, very time consuming, but I want to make this right. The person who owns this castle is none other than the king. That's right, the king of England is the Duke of Lancaster, and the castle belongs to the Duchy of Lancaster, which is surprising because Pontefract is in the dead centre of Yorkshire, and you know, completely different county is Lancaster, but that goes back to several hundred years of wars and things like that. Now this is going to take some time to fill in and get sorted out and blocked in right and things like that. So while I'm doing this, why don't we have a look at some art that you've sent to me over the last week or so. I just want a little bit of shadow colour in these holes. This is like a blue, a baby blue mixture, very similar to the sky colour. This is just a little bit of shadow. Now what these are, these holes, these are actually cannon holes, you know, left by cannonballs after the English Civil War, when the castle was actually slighted and basically destroyed. Well, it wasn't fully destroyed. The people of Pontefract destroyed it after the Civil War. Never to let something like this happen again, because it's a very, very bloody event. There we go, just a little bit of shadow down there, just like that, cast shadow. Again, the light's coming this way, maybe a bit down here as well. There we go. Well, that took some doing, and those who've painted with me before know I don't usually like painting buildings at all, but that definitely took some doing. Right, we're going to put some grasses down next. I know we've got a little bit of a wall very similar just here. We'll come to that later, but we want to put some grasses in around this area there. This is more of a foreground sort of place, so we'll take care of that. So I'm just going to take some sap green, but mixture of anything, okay, your greeny colours. And where's the grasses down here? So this is from the keep down. So I'm going to take that down. I've got a little bit of a path there. And I'm just going to scrub in different colours of greens, okay? So maybe add a little bit of yellow into that. where the light would shine, because this part is in shadow, so we'll add some blues to that as we go. But I'm just scrubbing in various different colours, and we'll come back and make all different kinds of grassity things. Grassity, is that a thing? Grassy things. So I've laid out some basic grass areas, but before we get carried away, I want to put in the path, and it's just a basic little light grey colour. Looking back on the reference photograph. So I'm just going to scrub it, because some of this grass will come over the top of this, and it's going to sneak behind this mound just there. So I'm going to be quite careful not to have it going up. And again, this will need shadowing out as well. So I'm just going to scrub in some of this grass, some of this like pebbly sort of colour, very pale pebbly colour. Just take it across there, hides behind that little wall. So the path's all in now, and we've got as grass as roughly in situ. I'm going to take a very, very grey purpley colour. I've got to really work on those faraway houses. In fact, I think it's the old blacksmiths that used to be here. But I'm just going to put in a very light purple, almost the same colour as the sky. I'm just going to scrub this in right over. This is a soft, delicate brush. I'm just putting a very loose colour in there. There's going to be some trees and shrubs and all sorts. As you can see, I've virtually painted them in without paying too much attention to what's behind them. Really out of sync, I know. I should be told off for that. I'm just going to block some colours in, just like that. Too far away to even care, but we just know that they're there to break up that straight horizon line, really. So after some thought, we better leave them in. All right, so with that wall in place, now we can come back here and just tweak some of this grass. So on this hog-eared fan brush, I'm just going to push up. Now, if you like these kind of fan brushes, you can find them on Amazon, and if you have a look down in the description, there's a couple of links down there I've got, because I'm an affiliate now, whatever that means. But if you want to go have a look at those there, that's these kind of fan brushes. Very cheap, really nice quality. I really like them. We're just going to push in just some grasses. I'm just pushing up, working in layers, and you get all these lovely, wonderful effects. You can change the flavour every now and again, just like that. And then work onto your rocks as well, at this wall. And it'll pick up the yellow that we're putting on, will pick up the colour that we've got already down there, and also a little bit of the colour that's on the brush as well. And if it gets too bright, like I don't like that bright spot just there, we'll come back with a bit of blue or green, and we'll jazz it up somewhat. We'll just change the flavour. In fact, let's do that. Let's grab a tiny touch, only a touch. Maybe that's too much. Just about right. Okay, so let's have these little trees here. So I've taken a mixture of burnt umber and burnt sienna on a little flat brush, and I'm just gonna put in a gentle, delicate little tree trunk. Don't want too crazy a tree back there. Okay, and I'm following the pencil marks that I had in originally, and maybe, oh no, right over the chimney. I didn't want that, but it's there now. Can't change it. Well, I can, but I don't want to. Do we want a third one? Go on then. We'll do it. You could make a decision down yet. So we'll have a third one just there, like so. Maybe we've got a couple of arms just coming off there, like that. I come back in here eventually with the script liner brush and put all kinds of little twigs and twiglet things on here. Well, I just want a basic shape of the tree. I don't want it too strong because they're far away, you see. Maybe it goes a bit there and there. Yeah, like that. Then tinker some of this into the grasses, like so. So I've just basically got a larger rounded brush, and I'm just hitting a mixture of the different browns and maybe a bit of black in there every now and again. And I'm just going to put some indications of far away twigs. Now, if you're unsure what it's going to look like, just tap on a dry part of your canvas, and that should give you a little bit of an indication of what it's going to be like up here. So according to this, to the reference photograph, we had a couple up there. We don't want to put leaves on the trees, just some twigs where some leaves would be. And if this doesn't work out right, then we can always change them into leaves eventually. But just some loose little twiglety things just living up there, just because you just don't see loose branches, you see all kinds of little tiny twigs as well that are up there. There we go, just out. This is just a little rounded brush, big rounded brush. There we go. Bit of thin oil on the liner brush, and we can put all kinds of nice little tiny little branches now, just very tiny. We don't want to go mental and put loads of jagged little branches on, because you won't see them all. Just some that are out there, like that. Just work it in. Maybe we've got a bit of darkness down this side. Work it down. Work with what we've got. Maybe there's a branch. There's hardly any paint on the brush there. That's okay. That's fine. Come back in. A branch that works its way there. Yeah, I like it. Take your time. There we go. And again, I changed my mind. I added another one just here. I've got to make sure I'm not putting my finger. Oh. There we go. Maybe a bit. Maybe it's a little bush, that one. Oh, well, it's not going to be a bush. It's almost the same size as a castle. You know what I'm saying. A bit of shadow underneath that. Down here as well. There we go. And if you get a little spot which you don't like, just go back to this brush which had this colour on, and then just tap it, and erase it away. There we go. Blend that into the painting. Grab a bit more of that brown. There we go. It's not too bad. I'm liking it. So what I've done is just ploughed in some colours, some grassy colours just down here, and I think we've got another rock there, and I don't know whether to put a little bit of a tree or a shrub or something like that just yet. But let's go back to that fan brush which had all the grassy bits and pieces on, and I'm just going to start just pushing up, just push into the path, over the path, and then I'll just mix all this lot up with the fan brush. Of course, you need a really good firm hog air fan brush for this sort of technique. Just push in, and eventually you'll get lovely soft looking grass. I'm not too concerned about this stone just yet. You get all these kind of grassy bits and pieces down here in the foreground. So I want a lot of detail. I might even put one or two little flowers that are starting to emerge. I think there's some little yellow ones out there when I visited the castle. So we may put some of those in. Then again, we may not. All right, with the foreground now in place, I've just added some little grasses and things like that with the liner brush, and a little bit of rubble down in the bottom corner here, which was on the original reference photo, I'm just going to take some burnt umber and a tiny bit of black. God, I wasn't kidding when I said every bit of my palette's going to be used today. It is in a right mess. Anyhow, last thing I think for this is to block in some colour on this tree. So just a little bit of burnt umber and black just down here, and let's block in this tree, and then we'll concentrate on adding some highlights and shadows. Remember, the sun's coming from this way, so we'll need to highlight this side, put a little bit of a reflected light on this side. So let's block this in. Shouldn't take too long. I've literally run out of burnt sienna now, but I'm going to mix what little bit I've got left with a bit of white, a touch of red in there, just a touch. Okay, and I'm going to use the paintbrush just like a knife, and I'm just going to touch on the top, and I'm just going to let this just bounce down and create some highlights down this side, just like this. Just let it bounce. Okay, and if you just pick up a little bit of that dark colour underneath, that's fine. This bark is in all different colours, all different values, and it goes off there, and very gentle like that. Okay, and then a little bit up there, and then we can start changing it a little bit darker as we come into the middle of the tree. A little bit darker just by adding a little bit more pressure, picking up a little bit of that dark undercolour. And then when we get to this side, we'll just start adding a little bit of blue to this. So I'll do it now just so you can see. So just a bit of blue on this side, just a little bit of reflected light down there like that. And then we'll work out where all these branches need to live. And just toy with it, just play. Just let the canvas do the work for you. That's all you need to do. All right, one of the last things to do to finish off this tree is just add some finer detail to some of these sticks. Now, where do they go? So I'm just going to try my best to just join up this. And just tease some of this colour in there like that. And give it some crazy twiglet sort of style. Just a bit like that. Maybe it comes back upon itself, I don't know. And this one up there, it's got a bit of a limb, just comes off. Jiggle and twiggle to create all these twigs. That easy. Just a bit of thin oil. Linseed oil is what I'm using. Linseed oil. Okay, just one or two extra little bits and pieces down here just while I've got that brush handy, and I think we're about finished. Well, I wasn't kidding, my fantastic friends. Every bit of inch of my palette has been used today, but well worth it. Took some doing, but definitely enjoyable nonetheless. Do you recognise this place? If you're from the local area, please let me know down in the comments. Will you be giving it a go as well? You know, the links to my socials are down in the description. Give me a big old thumbs up if it looks anything like the reference photograph. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already done so, you know. And until next time, take care of yourself. Stay safe. Happy days.